going to show you how much it really costs to spend a week living in Vanuatu. Vanuatu has been voted the happiest country in the world numerous times, and no wonder. With beautiful white sandy beaches, amazing food, and friendly people who just want to say hello. But how much does it cost to live there? I'm going to take you along with me and show you how much I spend in a week living in Vanuatu. This is going to include accommodation, my day-to-day spending, as well as other things such as phone and data plans. Alrighty team, it's actually my last week here in Vanuatu. So I thought it could be a good time to take you along for the week and see how much it costs exactly to spend a week living in Vanuatu. We've woken up to quite a rainy day today. So I'm going to start the day as I normally do with a cup of coffee, and I'll show you exactly what I'm spending as we go along. I'm starting the week on a Tuesday, which I know isn't the start of the week, but I'm flying back to Australia the following Tuesday, so it made sense to me at the time. I started the day with my usual coffee. A 500 gram bag of Tanner coffee costs about 2,000 Vaatu, which in my roughly 500ml French press gets me about 20 pots or 40 cups. So each cup cost me about 50 Vaatu or 65 Australian cents. I also take a coffee with me to work, so my morning coffees cost me 100 Vaatu or $1.30. I headed up to work and it was a fairly uneventful morning, so I didn't record anything. Because I live so close to the hospital, I've been coming home for lunch. I had a French taco today, which I'd gotten a bit earlier from a place called Tartaco. French taco is kind of like a fusion between a gyros and a burrito. They have fries inside, as well as meat, but it's wrapped up like a burrito, rather than open like a taco. It cost me 990 Vaatu, or about 13 Australian. After lunch I went back to work, and then just finished up for the day. Alright, it's time for dinner. I'm not particularly hungry tonight, so I'm just going to have some cup noodles and call it a day. These were the same noodles that I got for the Living Off $10 a Day challenge, which I'll link in the description, and they cost me 50 Vaatu. I also added a vegetable mix that I had to use up, which was about half the packet, or around 100 Vaatu, so all up, dinner cost me about $2. Wednesday was when I filmed the Day in My Life video, which is linked below in the description if you want to see what it's like volunteering as a nurse in Vanuatu. Once again, I started my day with coffees, so another $1.30. Today was actually quite a busy day at work, and I didn't get to take a break or have any lunch. But I did buy some Oreo cookies on the way home, which were 150 Vaatu, so there's $2 right there. And at least the rain has stopped for now, so I'm not walking home in the wet. I had a cup of tea with my biscuits, which is dirt cheap in Vanuatu, so I'll round it to about 50 cents for easy maths. Dinner was some leftover beef curry that Mackenzie had made before she left, with a couple of parathas. The parathas are 1,500 Vaatu for a pack of 20, so 75 Vaatu each, or $1. And the curry costs us around 2,200 Vaatu to make. It gives us around 4 serves, so about 550 Vaatu a serve, or $7.30. I had 2 parathas for dinner, so it was $9.30 all up. Not too long after dinner, I went to bed. The weather had cleared up overnight, so finally it wasn't raining, and we had beautiful blue skies today. As usual, the day starts with coffee, so there's another $1.30 to the total. For lunch today, we went to Mango's, just across the road from the hospital. I got their buttermilk chicken burger and a drink, which cost me 2,200 Vaatu, or around 30 Australian. Going out for dinner tonight with some colleagues, so I'll take you along with me and I'll show you how much that costs. Alright, let's go. So we're having dinner tonight at Ristorante Casemia, which is an Italian place in town. It's at the Melanesian Hotel. So we'll go in and get some food. For dinner, I got a lime juice, a Seziano d'Amando, and a passion fruit cheesecake for dessert, which all up cost me 3,800 Vaatu, which is $50 Australian. Today was the final day working at the hospital, and the staff had planned to throw me a going away party. But, as usual, I start the day with a coffee. It was a surprisingly quiet day at work, so at 12 PM, everyone came together in the tea room to wish me bon voyage after I'd spent 12 months working alongside them as the nurse educator in the emergency department. We shared a meal, there were some speeches, and I got a few going away presents from the team. It was incredibly touching, and you're all in my heart forever. Remember, you know goodbye, you just look at me back again. After the party, my workday was done, so I went home. I worked on some videos for a while, but eventually I got hungry again and was thinking about dinner. I headed to the Regenerative Vanua Collective, which you can see featured in my What the Locals Eat In Vanuatu video, link in the description. Dinner here cost me 1,670 Vatu, which is about 23 Australian. After dinner, I was feeling like a little sweet treat and I had to go past ABM number 2 on my walk home, so I ducked in and accidentally brought a French cheesecake, some cookies, and an apple flavoured green tea to see me through the next few days. The haul cost me 2,000 Vatu, or 27 Australian. On Saturday morning, I was filming parts for a few other videos, so I didn't actually start the day with coffee. I headed down to Vila Central Market, and my breakfast this morning was a chicken lap lap, which you can see and learn about in the What the Locals Eat video, as well as some other traditional Vanuatu foods. For lunch, I headed to a Taste of India and filmed my section there for the 5 best restaurants in Port Vila. I got a pineapple juice, naan bread, rice, and a chicken tikka masala, and it cost me 3,200 Vatu, or 42 Australian dollars. Some of the other volunteers had organised a bit of a going away party for myself and some of the others who started at the same time as we did, but with other partner organisations. So this afternoon, I headed out to their place. On the way there, I grabbed a few supplies so I didn't turn up empty-handed. The drink, some M&Ms and a packet of chips cost me 1,650 Vatu, which is around 22 Australian. Their place overlooks a beautiful bay and the sunsets are absolutely amazing. It was a heap of fun and we got to spend some time together as a group before a few of us headed off on other adventures. It didn't cost anything, but of course, it was absolutely priceless. Sunday is normally a pretty quiet day around town, and most things are usually closed. But there's a 24/7 bakery a short walk from where I live, so I decided to head there this morning to get some bread and pastries for the day. I got a batard, a coconut bun, and a curry bread, and some pineapple juice. And it cost me 480 Vatu, which is $6.40 Australian. I had 1 egg and a few rashers of bacon left to use up, so I cooked them up and made a bacon and egg roll with the batard when I got home. Eggs are around 60 Vatu each, and the bacon would have been around 250 when broken down from the packet. So the meal cost me another $4 on top of the bread. I spent the majority of the day at home just working on some videos, as well as packing up. Because I'd had a late breakfast, I wasn't particularly hungry until a bit later in the day, and had been snacking on the pastries. For dinner, I went to Number 1 Cafe to grab a pizza. My go-to pizza is a Hawaiian, and I deeply believe that pineapple does go on pizza. I also grabbed a Coke, and my total was 1,500 Vatu, which is $20. On my last day in Vanuatu, I once again skipped my morning coffee. I had an early meeting with the in-country team for an exit interview for my assignment, and then I went to Number 1 Cafe again for an early lunch. I grabbed their pie of the day, which was a meat pie, which are actually quite hard to find in Vanuatu, and a tropical punch smoothie. All up, it cost me 1,400 Vatu, so about $19. I did some filming around town, and then headed home. I took the rest of my leftover food and supplies to the hospital, and then waved it goodbye, before I headed over to Mango's for one last coffee. Coffee at Mango's is 500 Vatu, which is about $6.50. I spent the rest of the day packing, and then for my last dinner here, I headed down to the restaurant at the resort that we lived at. I got myself a Hawaiian pizza and a cocktail, which cost me 3,000 Vatu, which is $40. In addition to the day-to-day costs, we also need to talk about how much accommodation is. We lived long term at Poppies on the Lagoon, so had a better rate than you get staying on a night by night basis, but we're locked in. For our 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment, we paid 210,000 Vaatu every 28 days, which covered rent, electricity, water, gas, as well as Wi-Fi. It also included any maintenance, and we got housekeeping twice a week. So, per week, we were paying 52,500 Vaatu, or about 700 Australian dollars. Another cost that we had to take into account was our mobile phone and data. As we were there long term, we had local SIMs with Digicel. We would spend around 2,000 Vaatu a month on our data plan and normally just use Messenger or WhatsApp for all our communications. So, our weekly cost would have been around 400 Vaatu or $6.50. Now, I wasn't living cheaply by any means as it was my last week in Vanuatu, but you can get by pretty cheaply in Vanuatu, which you can see me doing in my living off $10 a day in Vanuatu video. So all up, my cost for living in a week in Vanuatu was $1,032.50. Do you think this is cheap? Do you think this is expensive? Leave a comment and let me know.